Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here, and tonight I'd like to do the Fifth King, one that I've actually worked with quite a bit over a wide span of time. So I thought I'd do a little video on him so that you, as the practitioner, can delve into his mythology, his history, the material that he's mentioned in, and literally begin your journey with him if you so choose to do so. Okay. I know for a fact he has benefited me and my family. So I got to give him props, you know? And most importantly, I got to give this devil his due because he has been influential in my life as well as my significant other. We've had issues in the past, and not only this particular king, but also the other 9 have stepped in and really taken care of it. They've opened up that door, and we've just walked right through. You know, to quote the Matrix, the first one, the blue pill, you go back to sleep, and the red pill, you see how far down the rabbit hole you really go. Well, that's that's literally the best thing for this being when working with this being. So tonight we're going to be talking about Viney. Okay, Viney is one that is a very old king. He goes back hundreds of years. And he's mentioned in about 3 different texts. The Pseudo Damien Archaea, I just butchered that and I just realized that. Daemonum, The Discovery of Witchcraft, and most importantly, the Goetia by Dr. Rudd. In the Goetia, Viney is the 45th spirit. Okay? And both the discovery of witchcraft and the Basodanium, I can't speak tonight. Viney is viewed as riding a black horse. In this case, he would be considered to be riding the horse of death because black was always associated with death, okay? And death was always riding a black horse, whereas pestilence would be wearing a white horse, riding a white horse or whatever. But in this case, it describes him as riding a black horse, looking like a lion, and carrying a viper in the right hand. Okay. Now, in this Pseudo Monarchia Daemonum, it speaks to Viney as having no legions underneath him. I mean, most of these beings that you read about or that you work with have some form of legion or legions that they rule over, like 36 legions or so, or say 66 legions or whatever. And I just realized my brother is messaging me here. So anyways, yeah, so this really speaks to him having no one under him to rule, which was kind of a surprise to me when I first reached out and started delving into his history, his mythology, his folklore even. Okay. He had 0 underlings, but yet he is considered to be one of the great 9 kings of the Goetia. Okay. Very, very fascinating. Okay. Now, in the discovery of witchcraft, Viney is able to tear towers and walls down which are made of stone. Okay. He can create choppy waters or rough waters and can reveal the past, present, and future, just like about a third of the 72 goetic demons. Now, what's interesting that separates him aside from the others is the fact that he actually speaks on the matters of occultism. It is literally said that he can reveal his knowledge of witches or on witches, basically revealing to you their names. Okay? Their names, the identities of who these witches are. Okay? Think about that for just a minute. You work so hard underneath the witch's pyramid, the witch's the witch's oath, okay, the witch's top, the witch's creed, the number 4, okay, which is to keep silent, right? To know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent, all before to go forth. Okay, so think about that for just a minute. You're literally thinking, you're practicing keeping your name a secret so that there's no witch trials, no being targeted by the right-wing fascists, those little control freaks called the JCI, right? So here's one demon that can reveal your identity. Ironic, isn't it? And yet Reginald Scott, according to his book, The Discovery of Witchcraft, this being can do that. Now, what's ironic, though, is that when you go into the Goetia, Viney is said to have 36 legions. 36 legions underneath his command. Now, this other text said he had no one underneath his command, right? So that kind of just shows you that there's some form of duality, like somebody doesn't fully understand what this being is capable of. Because in the dictionary, or I should say the discovery of witchcraft, he has nothing. The pseudo daemon Archaea, he has nobody. But yet, according to Dr. Rudd and the Lesser Keys of Solomon, the Goetia, he has 36 legions. How'd you go from 0 to 36? Tells me somebody knows exactly what they're doing. And in my personal experience, I can tell you that he's powerful. He has a lot of beings underneath him. Now, what's ironic is, you notice how I mentioned the clavicle of Solomon, also known as the keys of Solomon. Okay? Viney is ranked 45th within the 72 goetic demons. He is both a king and a duke, ruling 37 legions. Now you notice how we went from 36 from the Goetia by Dr. Rudd to 37 within the clavicle of Solomon. Ironic. 0, 36 to 37. He belongs to the order of powers, can make enemies friends, and most importantly, procure the love of women, of a woman, and speak imperfect Egyptian. Now, everything from Edward Arthur White gives the same description from the book of ceremonial magic and that of the Black Magic and Pax book by him. I find it interesting that most of the grimoires who speaks on Viney all said he has a certain amount of legions under him, but this one legion says, nope, nothing. Ironic. But Viney can procure certain things and make enemies friends. They can make your foes your friend. Ironic, huh? Now I wonder what would happen if you did a ritual with Viney and Boone. Boone brings finances your way. But what happens if someone is standing in your way, being an adversary, an enemy? Every time I've had a client come to me and needing finances, or an apprentice that needs finances, I always tell them work with Viney and Boone together. And they've always found results. And the funny thing is that you can use herbalism, you can use spiritualism, you can use a lot of different things just to procure this one state. But yet, if you work with them separately, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So when I look at certain things, there's an old expression, depending on what you're in need of. What's ironic about this is that, let's say, for example, you need an enemy taken care of. You'd go to Asmodeus, right? Demon of wrath and lust, the demon of anger, rage. But yet, the best way to learn the tactics of an enemy is to work for them. I know what you're thinking. What? Why would you want to work for your enemy? The greatest thing to do, and you can do this within just about any field. I was once told by an enemy of mine who used to be a friend, most ministers come from other ministers. Well, guess what? This minister learned from another minister. This man taught me everything I know and more when it comes to ministry, when it comes to manipulation of the masses. And I used those tactics against him after his betrayal. And the funny thing is that Viney made him an ally, a friend. And I learned from him. He had forgotten me. He had no idea that he trained me. And then I flipped it around on him and I turned his church into a church of Satan. He can't even keep a flock. His flock lost over 200 members to his church. Not joking. Over 200 members just gone. He had over 200, over 300 people in that church. And now he's lucky if he can keep 74 in his church, even today. And it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years and he's barely holding on by the skin of his teeth. Because you're working with the demon of wrath, Asmodai, and then you're working with Viney. Ironic, isn't it? And yet, you're procuring the love of the people. Ironic. So, yes, you look at your need, you look at what you're going through, and you're working with these beings. You're doing things for them, and they're doing stuff for you. It's a mutual beneficial relationship. So, in this case, I utilize more than one being, depending on if it's financial, if it's matter of retribution, You look at who you need. Viney seems to be the one being, the one king that goes along with many other spirits, especially in rituals and ceremonies and spells, spell castings. Think about that for just a minute. How many spirits can actually work well with others? Not many. Most of which you work with one-on-one. Unless you're doing a destruction ritual, then you call on multiples. And it's kind of like a gangbang. But in this case, most of the time, you're going to see one spirit, just one spirit that people work with at a time for any given topic. You hush. You mouthy little girl. My familiar's down here being mouthy. But my point is this. Viney is one of the few great kings, one of the few purest, friendliest demonic lords out there. That if you do him right, he'll do you right. And he will stick by you, loyal, just like any familiar. Except for he's no familiar. He is a great demonic king, one of the 9 great kings of the Goetia. Remember that. He is very good at what he does, and he can open up doors for you that would most likely be closed otherwise. Just like any of these other kings that I've named off so far. Paimon, Beleth, Belial, Zagon, and now Viney. Keep that in mind. The more I reveal to you, the more you're going to be able to go into this research and do the work yourself. Okay? Delve into their myths, their legends, work with them, open up a repertoire. Okay? Communicate with them, work with them, forge that relationship with them. Make a pact with them if need be. A lot of times a relationship just builds. You don't even need a pact. But it's always good to have one because it shows your intent, your purity. And it's also a great thing to have a form of offering and a sacrifice. But remember also that blasphemy is also a good thing, and you'll get rewarded for it. Little thing that you can pick up. But I hope this has been educational. I hope it's been enlightening. And until next time, I want to thank Judy Carter for jumping on here, my brother John Saunders, and Super Gnome 369. Welcome back. It's been a while. So I hope that you go out and you get these materials. I hope you just study them, break them down, experiment with them, forge a relationship with these spirits. It will benefit you in the long run. All right? So with that said, have a good one. Till next time.